So for today, we're going to actually do two activities, both on Desmos. So let's go to Desmos, start the graphing, right? And let's make it projector mode so you can see a little bit easier. Always hit that wrench so you can see everything a little bit easier. And let's go ahead and call this, what is this, number 56? So I've got number 56, and scatter, plot, and R. R stands for correlation, by the way. So just always use the title of the actual assignment that's up there in bold, to when you're naming it. And go ahead and make a folder for number 1. Make a new folder just like we've been practicing and doing yesterday, and add the data. So add the table, and we can add the data in. And go ahead and do that. So that we have the data. So what I'm going to show you here, again, is something called correlation. And you actually saw it yesterday. We didn't talk about it yesterday. But basically, looking at all these data points, do they look like they line up in a nice straight line? So if we had our line of best fit, do you think it would, like, one single line, do you think would go through most of these? No. So that means it's low correlation. So if we go through and do the same thing we did before, do the y1 tilde mx1 plus b, it's going to come up with a line no matter what, but you can see it's not a very good predictor. Like, we want to be able to plug in like 1, right? And it should come close to our 2 points here, but it's actually kind of far away. So it's not a very good predictor, and when it's not, you're going to have a very low correlation. And correlation is this value right here. So you see this little R value? See how it's very close to 0? So close to 0 means a low correlation. So what we want to do here is say, I'm going to add a note right afterwards. I'm going to say my R equals, I'm just going to copy it down. R equals negative 0 points. And that means low, or I'm actually going to say no correlation, because it's so close to 0 that basically this line doesn't really come close to any of the points. We can't really use it to predict anything because it's so far off. Okay, so also move these into the one folder. So remember, you click on it a little bit, and then you see how it moves over. It'll line up with the arrow. So you click on it, moves it over. That way, we have all of these that are associated with number 1 in the same folder. So when you collapse it, they all go in there. So just click on it and move it to the right a little bit so that they all collapse in each number. So yeah, so R equals negative 0 points. Make that a little bigger. I'm just basically copying it down right from here. There's also an R squared right here. So if you actually just took this number, negative 0.143, and you multiply it by itself, you get the R squared. You guys aren't going to use that yet. If you take an actual statistics class, you'll start using R squared. It's used for some other things. But this has a percentage interpretation, which is why we like R. So it's almost like this line is like, it predicts it with 14%, which is not very high. Yeah, you want to get close to 100% as possible. So this is only like at 14%. So not that high. So let's go ahead and collapse that and do number 2, and we'll see a slightly different result here. So I'm going to collapse that, and put everything in the folder number 1, make a new folder number 2. Okay. We can add a new table, and let's type in that table. Give it a second. All right, so let me turn off number 1. Remember, I can just click that, turn it off. Now you can see that I can't see my data here, so you can always zoom out, right? And then you should be able to see your data. resize the window a little bit. So you can see this. Does this look like it's on a straight line? Yeah, so this is going to have a high correlation, probably close to 100%. So if you do the line of best fit here, make sure you change it to Y2, because whatever your line of it should match these two. This is Y2 and X2. So if we want the line of best fit, we have to use Y2 and X2 plus B. And you can see the correlation here. Remember, it's a percentage interpretation, so that's like a 99%. So this line can predict our data 99% of the time, 99% accuracy. It's very, very close. Now, it does not matter that this is a negative. The fact that it's close to 1 or -1 means it's very accurate. So this is like 99% accurate, 99%. So here again, we can add another note and say here the R equals negative 0.996, which I also put equals, I'll put the percentage one on here. So this is 99.6%. What's the word I want to use? Accuracy or something like that. Okay. So if I use this line to predict, any of these, it's going to be very, very close. It's going to be almost exact. Like if I try to plug in 3, right, I get an answer of 7.8. And if I look at my data, yeah, 3 is actually 7.8. It's very, very close to the actual numbers. So I could go down here and follow it, and I could use it to predict something in the future. And since my data is so close, my line of best fit is so close to my data, my prediction is going to be much more accurate. So the higher your correlation, the more accurate your prediction will be for anything in the future. Okay. So go ahead and do the same thing for number 3 and 4. Okay. By the way, you also get the line of best fit down here, the slope and the y-intercept. So that's what we looked at yesterday. So we're really just looking at R. And again, we won't touch R squared, and we won't touch the residuals at all in this class. That's for an actual stats class. Okay? And don't forget to move everything afterwards into the number 2 folder. So you have to click on each one of these, move it over so that it will collapse, and I can turn all of them on and off with one click. So I can look at number 1, I can look at number 2, and I can see my results if I just click it down. Okay? All right, so I'll have you guys do 3 and 4. And that'll only take about 10 minutes or so, and then we'll look at 57, which is a task. So I'm going to pass it out right now. Whenever you finish 56, make sure you go ahead and save it. Click Save. And then you can make a new document and call it 57, and you can start putting things in. And then after everybody's kind of there, then I'll go over 57. Okay, but at this point, 57 is just combining what we've been doing today and yesterday. So you'll probably already know how to get started on it. Okay? But always practice this. Make the folder for each problem. Make sure you title it. Make sure you log in. You should see your name there. And you can save it along the way.